I'm going to give you 3 experiments today. First one, option A, you earn $50,000 a year. Everyone around you earns $30,000. Option B, you earn $100,000 a year. Everyone around you earns $200,000. Pick one. Harvard economists actually ran this study. Hundreds of participants, rationally. B is the obvious answer. Twice the money, twice the buying power. And yet, the majority of the people chose A. They'd rather be poorer in absolute terms as long as they were ahead of the people around them. That's not ambition. That's not strategy. That's a psychology force so deeply wired into your brain that people would literally choose less money just to feel ahead. And you just felt it too. That force is what this video is about. Second experiment. We're splitting into 2 groups right now. If you're in group A, keep watching. If you're in group B, skip 10 seconds ahead right now. Group A only. Are we alone? Before you watch the rest of this video, I want you to imagine something. A close friend just texted you. Hey, I just got a new job offer. My salary tripled. Hold it in your head. Keep watching. Group B only. Before you watch the rest of the video, I want you to imagine something. A close friend just texted you. Hey, I got laid off today. Not sure what I'm going to do. Hold that in your head. Keep watching. Both groups back now. Here's your question. Right now, in this moment, how satisfied are you with your life? Pick a number between 1 and 10. 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it? Research shows that people who imagine their friends' promotion score their own life satisfaction about 2 points lower than average. People who imagine their friends' layoff score about 2 points higher. Your life didn't change. Not your relationship. Not a single thing. The only thing that changed was who was standing next to you. That's a trap. In 1954, psychologist Leon Festinger published a theory that would reshape how we understand human behavior, social comparison theory. The idea is simple. Humans don't evaluate themselves against an objective standard. We evaluate ourselves relative to other people. We don't ask, am I doing well? We ask, am I doing well compared to them? Festinger argued this wasn't just a habit. It was a fundamental psychological drive, as basic as hunger. Because for most of human history, the relative position in this groove determined everything. Resources, safety, status, mates. All of it was distributed based on where you ranked. Knowing where you stood wasn't vanity, it was survival. So the brain built a comparison engine, automatic, constant, running in the background of every social interaction. Here's the problem. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar famously argued that the human brain evolved to maintain stable relationship with roughly 150 people. Your tribe, the people you saw every day, people whose full context you understood. You knew when their good fortune was temporary. You knew when their confidence was a mask. You had the whole picture. Now you're running that same engine on millions of people, curated to show only their best moments, filtered, framed, and posted at the exact second things are going right. Your brain doesn't know the difference. The algorithm built for a village of 150 is now processing the entire world's highlight reel. And it's losing because it was never designed for this. Social comparison happens at every age. Kids do it. People in their 30s do it. But your 20s have a structural problem the other decades don't. Everyone is diverging at the same time, visibly. In school, you were all on the same track, same grades, same exams, roughly the same trajectory. Comparison happened, but the gap between people stayed narrow. The system kept everyone moving at roughly the same pace. Then your 20s and the structure disappears. Suddenly someone is getting married, someone got promoted, someone launched a company and got funded. Someone bought an apartment, someone looks like they had everything figured out at 19. And you're watching all of it happen in real time on a screen that never turns off. Psychologists call this the social clock, the invisible timeline society programs into you before you're old enough to question it. When you should have a career, when you should be in a relationship, when you should own things, achieve things, become things. Nobody hands you this timeline. Nobody writes it down, but you absorbed it. From what you watched growing up, from what got celebrated around you, from the question adults started asking you at family dinners. And in your 20s, for the first time, you can clearly see who's on track and who isn't. Your brain, running Festinger's algorithm constantly, is always checking where you land. Third experiment. Imagine 2 photos in front of you right now. Person A is wearing a sharp suit, clean, bright office background, expression is relaxed, confident, like they have somewhere important to be. Person B is in a hoodie, plain room behind them. Expression is neutral, fine, just there. Who looks more successful? You probably picked person A. There was no correct answer. I gave you 0 information about either person. But your brain already decided, in under a second. The vase in the suit, the background, the posture, the expression. This is how social comparison actually operates. We don't analyze information, we read signals, and we instantly map those signals onto a hierarchy and check where we fit. Every post on social media is a signal package. The vacation, the promotion announcement, the new car, the engagement photo, the excited to share LinkedIn update. Each one gets processed by your brain as a data point, and each data point triggers the same question: where am I in relation to that? Everyone knows comparison affects how you feel. What people don't talk about is what it does to how you decide. When you're in a high comparison state, you stop making decisions based on what you actually want. You start making decisions based on what will close the gap between you and whoever you're measuring yourselves against. You choose a career for the title, not the work, because the title is visible in the comparison. It signals something. The day-to-day reality of the job doesn't show up in anyone's feed. You stay in a relationship you know isn't right, because being single in your mid-20s feel like falling behind. The relationship is a data point. Being partnered reads as ahead. So you optimize for the signal instead of reality. You chase milestones not because they make you happy, but because achieving them closes the gap. The promotion, the engagement, the apartment, they feel like proof that you're keeping up. Psychologist Timothy Wilson calls this miss-wanting. We want things not because we've thought carefully about whether they'll actually make us happy, but because they signal something in the comparison. And we're consistently, predictably wrong about how they feel once we have them. The promotion didn't feel the way you thought it would because you weren't excited about the work. You were excited about the gap it was going to close. And the gap doesn't stay closed. A new benchmark appears. The algorithm finds a new reference point. Researchers call the underlying pattern contingent self-worth. Your sense of value becomes conditional. Conditional on achievement. Conditional on how you measure up in the current ranking. Contingent self-worth is always fragile because the standard is always moving, and there will always be someone ahead of you. You already know how social media makes comparison worse. Most people know this, but knowing it hasn't stopped anyone, because the problem isn't awareness, it's the mechanism. Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. These platforms are not neutral tools that sometimes get misused. They are engagement optimization machines, and the emotion that drives engagement more reliably than almost anyone else is social comparison. The low-grade anxiety of feeling behind, the brief relief of feeling ahead, the compulsive need to keep checking where you stand. The platforms didn't create social comparison, they industrialize it. Research by Keith Hampton at Rutgers found that passive social media use, scrolling without posting or interacting, is significantly more damaging to self-protection than active use. Because passive scrolling is pure input, pure comparison data with no connection, no reciprocity, no context. You're not talking to anyone. You're just watching, measuring, updating your internal ranking in a conversation you're not part of. And here's what you're actually comparing yourself to: a performance, that person's best day, best angle, best timing, selected from dozens of moments, edited and posted when it was going to land well. You know your own unfiltered interior, your own anxiety, your own 2 a.m. moments where nothing feels like it's working. You don't know theirs. You only see the output. Your brain runs the comparison as if the inputs were equal. They never are. Most videos end here with a list of habits: gratitude journaling, social media detox, stop comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. That last line is true, but it's not enough, because knowing you're doing it doesn't stop you from doing it. Here's what the result actually says. The most effective shift isn't reducing comparison, it's changing the reference point. Psychologist Kristin Neff's research on self-compassion found that the most psychologically resilient people aren't the ones who compare themselves less. They're the ones who compare themselves to themselves. Where were you a year ago? What do you know now that you didn't then? What can you do now that you couldn't before? This is called temporal self-appraisal, and it works because it's actually a fair comparison. Your past self and your present self share the same context, same starting point, the same specific combination of circumstances that nobody else has ever had. No comparison with another person is ever fair. You don't share their context. You don't know their starting point. You can't see what they traded to get where they are. Second, audit what you're consuming. not with the goal of using social media less necessarily. With the goal of changing the quality of input, unfollow accounts that reliably make you feel behind. Follow people who show process, failure, uncertainty. Not because struggle content is more honest, because it restores your sense of what the actual distribution looks like. Most people are figuring it out. Most people are uncertain. You just don't see that version of them. Third, stop trying to eliminate the comparison. Your brain will always run the algorithm. That's the design. The goal isn't to stop caring about how you're doing. The goal is to care about how you're doing. Change the benchmark. Point the engine at your own trajectory instead of someone else's position. We ran 3 experiments today. When choosing a salary, most of us picked less money to feel ahead. When a friend succeeded, our satisfaction with our own life dropped. When shown 2 photos with 0 information, our brain had already ranked them. None of that happened because you're weak or irrational. It happened because you're running a 150,000-year-old survivor system in an environment it was never built for. So if you feel behind right now, if you scroll through someone's life and feel that quite sinking feeling, remember what that feeling actually is. It's not reality. It's the output of a comparison algorithm running on bad data. Change the input. Change the benchmark. Point it somewhere fair. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're measuring yourself with the wrong ruler. If this reframes something, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.